Alright folks, hello and welcome to the elevator ride that is Downstage Gaming. I am your host Josh, and this is part 37 of our Let's Play of The Letter. When we last left off, we, as Ashton, went with Isabella to visit Zach. We sort of laid out like, okay, crazy things have been going on, we got a plan, you got a plan, we're gonna kind of look into this, right? And then that night, we've gone with Isabella to the BRC office. We've met my new favorite character, Seb, and Seb has just let us in to follow after Isabella up to her office. I'm sure that this will go well. Well, it's a quiet ride up to the 7th floor, where the BRC Luxborn main office is. Seb has been kind enough to switch the guest elevator's power on just as I'm about to head for the fire exit stairs, which is a welcome relief. I'm an active guy, but stairs? I don't want to tire out too quickly in case things get ugly. I mean, I'm not sure if you can call yourself an active guy if you can't handle a couple of stairs, Ash. I mean, I guess it depends what floor. Did it say what floor? Now I gotta look. To the 7th floor. Okay, yeah. I think you can handle up to the 7th floor, Ash. Come on. Probably won't be any trouble with the building this quiet, but you never know. I swear, the whole place definitely feels eerie at this time of night. But until I've confirmed anything, those are still just stories. Worse things can happen. No need to scare myself. Staying calm means fewer mistakes.
Oh, I sure am fucking gutsy, especially with what I'm doing.
I mean, I don't think this is, like, this crazy. Like, Ashton is making this out to be a lot more insane than I think it really is. I'm breaking a lot of laws here. I'm also putting Isabella at a lot of risks. But best thing that can come out of this is that Isabella's right all along. Worst case scenario? 1, someone finds out Isabella's involvement in this and her boss fires her. 2, I find evidence that would implicate BRC or Luke Wright in a crime, and my meddling, if I'm not careful enough, makes it inadmissible in court. Though, I'll be honest, I strongly prefer losing my job or facing Wright over some spirit or ghost or whatever it is. I could always work around the problems with the former. Isabella could also find a better job. BRC never did pay her properly, despite her efforts. I don't know, she's getting some hot money on the side, I don't know if you know. But fighting off a phantom? How does one even do that? Do guns even work with them? I think you need like a silver weapon, silver sword.
Yeah, not going to happen.
Well, alright. But tonight, I'm here to fix things. If I do it without leaving a trail, all the better. Good thing that's what I'm good at. This is a long elevator ride up to the 7th floor. Okay. Yeah, I don't super love this. What I'll probably never be good at is finding the proper words when a sitch calls for it. But seeing Isabella's small form beyond those doors, how she pushes through despite carrying an entirely different burden this time, how she's pretending as if everything's normal, it's difficult not to try. People who have never looked beyond her smiles will never know, will never understand. Hell, even Rebecca's probably not yet aware of this. I get it. We have other problems at hand. I've done the same thing plenty of times to protect myself, after all. But it's all in her eyes when she glances up at the few light raps I give the door. She wastes no time in leaving the mess of papers on the table and opening it for me, though even her confusion as she takes in my presence barely hides it.
Seb let you in?
Oh, me and Seb are basically BFFs now, Isabella. The rough edge in her voice rings a whole different tune now that I'm aware why. But knowing is different from hearing it straight from her. I can't simply bring this up, can I? Yeah, I suppose if you missed last episode too or didn't know, we believe, based on a report from the trustworthy source that is Seb, that one of Isabella's family members has died. We don't quite yet know which one. It's not a topic suited for casual conversation, and I doubt she wants to talk to me about it. As much as I want to help, there's a distance between us I'll never be able to cross. One that wouldn't even be there if it wasn't for me. Perhaps if I'd been more honest years ago and less of a coward, I might have been able to. Figures I couldn't even do that for the one person I keep telling myself that I care deeply about.
What can I say? I'm a very charming person.
To a rock, maybe.
I mean, listen. I don't want to insult my new bud Seb, but this is the closest we can get to it, I suppose. The light banter, the fleeting glances, or sometimes the long bouts of silence. And it's enough. For me, it is. Because even without words, there's comfort. With her, it's easy.
Must be a pretty cool rock then.
Ugh, get over yourself.
Hey now, I deserve some slack here. Today's supposed to be my day off, and yet here I am helping you out.
Here I am, committing crimes.
Helping. By standing at the door?
Well, you're not exactly letting me in.
Despite what she says, she moves to block me when I try to enter. She must have expected this the second we walked up the building's entrance and counted on the night shift guard to bar me from the place. It's reassuring to know she's somehow worried about me, although it's a bit misplaced at the moment. Besides, her concerns aside, I really can't let her get into the thick of things without me. Not with all the problems on her plate right now.
Isabella!
What?
Seriously, Ash. Seb
What?
might get in trouble for
Wait.
this. You might get in even bigger trouble with your boss.
Okay, that line read could not have been correct. What was that? Like that's the kind of thing that makes me think that like the ghost is right behind her or something, not like, hey, could you let me in, please? Oh my god.
And you're not.
That was so weird.
We've already talked about this back at Zach's. It's out of the question.
At least do it for Seb, please. He's a really nice guy.
Do it for Seb.
With the way things are going here, he's...
Got a little bracelet that says, you know, what would Seb do? On that, I agree with her. Seb is just awesome, and I wouldn't want to disappoint him. Seb's not such a bad fellow. Might be a little careless with his job and talks too much, but he means well. I'd hate to see the guy leave here with a bad record, in case something goes wrong. However, the anxious look she shoots back at the table behind her bring an even bigger worry.
Did you find something? Aside from what you told me about yesterday?
Not yet. I'm not sure. I haven't started going through the files we have in the records room. Just the ones they handed to me and Rose.
Let me see.
Wait, Ash!
Isabella, I already promised you that no one's going to get in trouble after we're done here. Even Seb.
I swear my life on it. No one will touch a hair on Seb's head.
I'll make sure we leave the place clean.
Her hesitation's still there, a split second of indecision as she tries to form an argument. Eventually, when nothing comes to mind, she steps aside.
Okay, but we can't take the original files out of this office. Clear? Not even a single sheet. We'll just have to make a copy.
Don't worry, that's the plan.
It appears to reassure her. A nod, then shortly she gestures for me to follow. Passing the sea of cubicles, I can't help but take in everything in their office. A force of habit for the most part. I'm glad we didn't have to make a decision there. I was worried I was going to have to betray Seb in my choice in order to actually investigate this place. As far as I know, BRC Luxborn used to own this whole building. Offices in several floors, once upon a time, when real estate is still a lucrative business for the company in this side of the country. Then, competition showed up, and suddenly, everything's not so good anymore. Only got worse as the years went by, or so according to the rumors. Now the branch is just this floor, despite what the huge sign in the building's facade says. And frankly, it's not too hard to believe when one looks at the state of this room right now. A number of desks have been cleared out. Personal mementos are scarce, as if the employees have gone on an exodus. I don't think that has to do with the financial situation as much as the ghoul situation. That'll be the downsizing. Probably. Still worrisome, though. Of course, I shake away all of this when Isabella starts handing me the papers she's been looking through. Focus, Frey. There's no point in whining or dwelling any longer on it. That's why we're here in the first place, to find out what the real deal is the old-fashioned way. Isabella's presence is a whole other blessing, too. Couldn't imagine how long this would take if I pushed going in here alone.
Is this everything? Where are the documents you mentioned?
Still locked up in the records room. Do you need them now?
Bring them here. Everything that has to do with the mansion's sale. Even those who worked on it during the renovations. The cleanup. Everything.
I want everything.
Including your mandatory sign-in sheets.
It's an odd thing to bring up, but at least it elicits a laugh from her before she heads for the records room. She remembers. And no matter how weak the sound of it is from her usual ones, it's a welcome thing to hear. It reminds me that the Isabella I know is still in there. She returns minutes later with a thick stack of folders and binders. For the next half of the hour, we work in complete silence while we dig into everything compiled in the folders. Not an easy task, considering how thick the whole thing is, but there's two of us. In fact, Isabella does most of the work, sorting the contracts, the employee list, and stuff we won't need into a neat pile. Just the files for the restoration alone makes up a stack of papers that's an inch thick. Third-party service providers hired for the masonry, radiators, woodworking, plasterwork, slate roofing, and a whole bunch of other things are well documented. Hell, every single contractor who worked on the project was listed individually, even if they were just there to do the plumbing. It's a high-profile and high-cost estate, alright. But with that scope comes the loopholes, means plenty of room to hide something in if there's something fishy going on. All I have to do is find a pattern. And it doesn't take long. Upon closer glance, despite the original owners shouldering the renovation costs, it'll be surprising if they manage to break even on the Ermengarde mansion. What with the additional expenses for the open house, the commission for their agents, and other overhead fees. At one point, the negotiations to get it listed under BRC's name almost broke down, too. Some disagreement about the listing price. The owners wanted to be rid of it as quickly as possible, while keeping the worth at a profitable level. BR... I do like that notion. I like the notion that the previous owners are like, listen, this mansion is haunted. We need to get it out of our lives as quickly as possible, or we might end up dead. But I do want to still make a profit here. I'd still like a little bit of cheddar on the side. BRC was insisting on a higher amount, double what the appraiser suggested. This, plus the rumor that their branch is closing, BRC Luxborn really is in the red, and the sale of the mansion could have easily been a desperate move to keep the branch afloat.
No wonder the final sale happened as fast as it did. Did you know about this?
No, they took it off our hands after I submitted the final documents for the sale. I didn't even know until I read this. I'm not sure if Rose did. I've only been given the key to the records room after she...
Rose knew it all.
Anyway,
that's why she had to
my
die.
point is, they've kept all the files from me. Rose was the one who compiled everything from our side. And even then, she was probably not aware of this. There's only so much they let us know. After that, they just told us to wait for our commission, and that the legal team would handle the rest. The rumors are true. Huh.
BRC really is a shady crap company.
Seems so.
Sheesh, this place is just unlucky, going bankrupt while the rest of this crap is happening. But this isn't what we're looking for. What we need is the who, the people aside from Isabella and Cooper involved in this business with the mansion, and the how they are now. Can't do much with the outside contractors, they won't be on file. The employee list, on the other hand, even with 2 people working through the pile, the whole task still takes quite a while. I hope Seb isn't starting to get suspicious if we've been up here too long. It's a quarter of an hour later when we put down the papers with a sigh and move on to the clients upon Isabella's insistence. For that, the sign-in form from the open house comes in handy. Okay, so we got Hannah Wright, Luke Wright. First 2 right there. Richard Frank, Ashley. Trying to see if there's... Yeah, none of these other names look meaningful, really. Something gives me a laugh when I spy the fake name I wrote on one of the sheets.
Why'd I even pick this name? It sounds so lame.
What name?
Nothing important. Just focus on those papers you have. We need to finish this soon, before Seb suspects
I've already been here like almost an hour, right? She snatches the paper away before the thought of hiding it occurs to me. Not that there's much secret in it. Isabella found me that afternoon anyway, but still.
Lee?
I've been careless that day, tailing Luke Wright without confirming where they were headed off to. While the butler's terribly efficient in keeping the Wright's engagements from the public eye, there are other ways if only I'd given it the time of day. In retrospect, I've been too eager, too impatient to find something that'll crack the case and be done with it. Maybe my failure goes as far back as the day of the open house, not during the party last night.
Yeah, well, I was pressed for time.
Seriously? Ashley? Were you even trying?
Yeah, I mean, you usually want to pick a first name that is not basically exactly your first name.
Oh, come on. You didn't even notice I was the one who wrote it down.
Of course I wouldn't. Only an idiot would use his real name.
It worked, though. Admit it. It's genius.
It's reverse psychology. Who would be this stupid? No one. It's the perfect crime. She responds with a roll of her eyes, then drops the matter entirely by shoving the paper back to my hands. We lapse back to our respective tasks afterwards, wordlessly skimming through everything. Read, set aside, get another one. Looking back at the sign-in sheet, I spot Luke Wright and Hannah Wright listed up top. Not that I don't know about them already, of course, but scanning through the list, a name immediately comes to my attention.
Madeline Williams.
Why is that? Oh, is that Marianne's name?
Something wrong?
Huh? No, just that I remember this girl listed here.
She frowns, moves her seat closer, and takes a careful read of the sheet. There's a long moment before she speaks up again, but from the way she tenses, she appears to be expecting the worst already.
What about her?
She was with me, in the group following Cooper, when we toured the upstairs part of the mansion, I mean. Rather loud one, especially when we took a peek into the attic. Kept talking about the ghost stories the whole tour.
You know, I hear the people who died here. What do you have to say about that?
Then, do you? Do you think she's...
She was reported missing 3 days after.
There was a ruckus at the precinct the day her family filed it. Threats were naturally given to the lack of progress days later, desperate ones. Her family is willing to shell out all the cash they have just to find her, to no avail, unfortunately. Officer Benjamin has been in a bad mood ever since he spoke with them, but what can he do? What can we do? He's tied. We're all tied. There's only so much we're able to do with everything that has been shoved into our hands recently.
She still hasn't been found. It's already been a week.
Isabella makes no further comment aside from a nod. Instead, she sits back in her chair with a distant look in her eyes, her hands balling to a fist as she struggles with her frustration? Or maybe it's anger. But the moment doesn't last too long. Soon, her grip loosens and she folds her hands back in her lap. Her expression, however, it's one I've seen way too many times in the mirrors. What does one say to a person burdened not by one loss, but many, who carries it in her shoulders like a badge of shame? I've yet to find the answer to that myself. Until then, the only way is forward. Press on to see where our attempts at fixing our mistakes might lead us. And despite my own doubts, a glimpse of that look on her face is enough reason for me. I can't just give up. There's too much at stake, too much to lose. With a renewed focus, I continue. On the third and last sheet, I spot another one. Beatrice Wilde, one I recall from the newspaper obituaries. Died of a heart attack. A letter of correspondence expressing condolences to her family confirms as much in her files. Passed away at age 74 in her sleep.
She's at that age. It certainly could have been a natural death.
Right? I'd like to believe so. But 3 more letters turn up when I rummage through the stack, and it leaves nothing more than foreboding feeling in me. They're all addressed to families of clients who have passed away in the past week. Regardless, these go into the pile of things worth looking into after our visit here, along with William's info sheet. There are just so many names, so many faces. Each one I've seen that day, and here I am wondering if they're alright. It isn't a selfless thought that brings the question to mind. Rather, it's the logic that if more of them are still alive, the more people I can choose to question. Nothing's concrete yet, of course. These are just speculations, but we're making progress. Once done with the sign-in sheets, I stash it along with the growing pile to my left and pull out as many of the other documents Isabella has already prepared for me. We're working through the employee list now, those who've been assigned to the mansion. Because if Isabella was to be believed, if what she's seen and what happened to Rose Cooper is because of that letter, I need to know everyone who has possibly read it, aside from the 3 of us, if they've been noticing strange things too. For all I know, these may have just been a terrible coincidence, although the thought of that starts to diminish as we dig into BRC's company files. 15 minutes later, the stack close to my elbow has risen from 5 to 21 different dossiers. Client and employee documentation, people have either visited the open house or worked in the property in some capacity since the letter's discovery. Turns out, there were 2 more employees who handled the mansion directly, aside from Cooper and Isabella. Christian Sy, the realty specialist, and Mark Julius Jean-Marie, the estate appraiser.
This C guy, he was in custody just the other day.
Really? Sir John has been looking for him. He stopped reporting to work a few weeks ago. Are you sure it's the same person?
Yep, this is him. Folks at the precinct said they went to his house after a noise complaint. They found him just acting all crazy. Had to take him in when he started getting violent. He kept screaming about a woman.
Well, I'm sure that's not important. Immediately, she stiffens. I don't want to bring it up or imply a connection to Isabella's story, but that is exactly what happened.
It was driving the guards mad, but he didn't last too long in there. A few hours in, and he just started bashing his own head against the wall, and, well, it was messy, to say the least.
Jeez.
Oh, no. We had no idea. Is he okay? HR just marked him as AWOL because none of their calls would get through.
What a caring company.
He's in the hospital right now. I heard they're putting him into a psychiatric ward as soon as he recovers. He's still a bit unstable.
Jean-Marie, on the other hand, his employee file notes his date of leaving and even when his final payment had been given. Along with it, there's a letter to his family about the appraiser being found dead in the office. Communication is hush-hush, and there's mention of compensation if they don't talk about it to the media. Inspector Abigail has often scolded me for not reading the reports on a regular basis, but I try to keep up to date as much as I can. When I do, I make sure I'm aware of the gist of what's going on in my city. This never reached the police's ears, or the health and safety executive.
Do you know about this guy?
One glance at her says everything. They've hidden it from the media, they've kept it from the police. It's not surprising this will also be a secret from someone of Isabella's position in this company. Fuck.
Rose was looking for him. Last week. We haven't heard anything from him either, until now. They never mentioned this to us.
Business going under and someone dies while working here? Of course they want to keep that quiet. It's bad publicity. This whole thing is just getting freakier by the minute. Nevertheless, I hand the files for Isabella to make a copy of.
The pages with their names, addresses, and contact numbers will do. We'll start with the ones who live within the city.
Sometimes there are things you really can't just brush off as mere coincidence. In my line of work, once a pattern pops up, it's only right to be suspicious. Especially the thing with Sai. It hits too close to stuff my own friends have been telling me.
All of this?
It's considerably thinner than the one she brought in, yet somehow the way she hugs the folders close to herself makes it seem heavier. Like she's hanging on to it in the same manner one will latch on to a lifeline.
Only the noteworthy ones.
And those that might still be alive. Might. She doesn't need to know that.
We can't check the outside contractors, but the guys with the direct connection to BRC and the people who attended the open house should be enough. We don't have time to see how everyone's doing, especially if what you said is true.
For a second, she appears about to argue, then quickly decides against it and hides it away before anyone reads the question in her face. Then, in a too abrupt motion, she turns towards the copier to get to work. Soon, only the machine's constant thrum fills the air around us, while I keep myself busy cleaning up the mess we've made. The lack of talk is awkward, to put it mildly, disturbing at worst. I've gotten so used to letting her just babble away whenever it's the two of us. Let's take a look at what we got. Probably just like some papers or something. Long day today. Okay. Alright. I could tell, however, she wants to do more. She wants to fix this mess herself, and that desire makes her antsy. But at the same time, she's learning how not to be impulsive or stubborn, exactly as I've told her yesterday before agreeing to any of this. Or maybe these so-called changes have always been with her. Dire situations have always pushed people to change, after all. Although seeing this happen in front of me only makes it difficult to find the proper things to say. In an atmosphere this tense and charged, what's left for us to talk about? Certainly not the news. What's worse is when you only realize all of this in hindsight, right after you've already ran your mouth off.
You know, for a house your company seems to be in a hurry to sell, they still made quite a fortune out of it. Look at this. 1, 2, 3... 6. Are you sure they're planning to give your entire share for this? This isn't a small amount, especially given the usual cut. And their accounting department isn't in the greatest shape either.
Even if they don't, it's not like someone still needs it.
And there's the reason why people don't let me talk. Silence once again descends throughout the room, denser compared to the ones we've shared tonight. Behind me, I can still hear her movements, sharp and precise, while she feeds the originals to the machine. Then, with one last click, all of it stops. Her feet shuffle slightly against the floor when she moves away. Something creaks softly, probably the table, as she settles her weight against its side. By this time, an apology is already on the tip of my tongue, but...
Belle,
Papa's gone, Ash.
That's the one that I had a feeling it was. Then those scant few seconds, everything between us shifts as the gravity of her words sinks. Right then and there, something harsh and immovable rises between us. Death is something I'm familiar with, almost 10 years in the police force, and it's impossible not to be acquainted with it. But this is different from those dead bodies we examined in forensics, a far cry from the victims we found on a bad investigation. Those I could easily distance myself from. No emotional attachments, no need for pretenses. Yet somehow I still find myself grasping for things to tell her. Any words of comfort that'll dull the pain. Because even without looking at her, her grief feels palpable enough. Her pain an immutable weight hanging over us. So gently I offer... No, tell me about him. I understand the impulse there to just stay busy, but no. Tell me about him. Tell me you like that, Isabella. Good, alright. That's the right thing.
Huh? When what?
Your dad. I mean, when did you find out?
She doesn't answer. Not immediately, anyway. For a long moment, the hush simply stretches out before us, spanning across the seconds we let pass, while we both simply stand there, waiting. Eventually, she exhales. lightly muted enough that I might have missed it had I not been paying attention to her every movement.
Yesterday, around 3 in the afternoon there, Mama called. She told me he passed away in his sleep, and I guess I can take comfort in that, huh? That Papa wasn't in any pain when...
She trails off, releases another ragged breath hidden underneath her chuckles. Each one's mirthless, heavy with nothing but sorrow. Then she falters into silence, and for all my attempts at lightening her burden, I'm suddenly at a loss. Reassurances could only do so much, with her only reason for staying here has suddenly been taken from her. A hope yanked from under her feet right after it was generously given. And without that, without the one person who pushes her to endure all the shit we're going through, she's going through, means nothing but a struggle. What does one say to a person fraying at the edges, slowly wearing thin and breaking? Are words even enough? What right do I have anyway? I cannot give her anything, apart from lies that changed me as a person, and affections she may or may not even want for herself. Because no matter how easy she has wormed herself into our lives, how immutable her presence has become, her own heart will always yearn for something else. For home.
Tell me about him.
Huh? About what?
Your dad. Tell me about him. Anything. Just talk. Say anything you want. Doesn't matter what it is. I'll listen.
Silence again, as if she's testing the weight of my question, for what purpose it is, for a reason even I can't say right now. After a while, though, she starts, reluctantly, her voice hitching, faltering, and stumbling on each syllable as she chooses her words. A rough start, but soon it steadies. And along with it, to keep company the stories from childhood and memories she's fond of, are the tears. Despite this, in spite of the grief choking her words off, the hurt closing her throat, the sobs racking her lithe form, she continues, like the mere act of speaking is a relief in itself. A release. She tells me of her father, the very person who named her, how she looked up to him, how she was a bit of a tomboy growing up in her attempts to imitate him, and how the man encouraged her to pursue what she really wanted. Perhaps even the only thing she ever did for herself, having grown up not wanting anything more than food to put on their tables.
He told me I don't have to listen to them. That I can do what I want. Every day, he'd wake up at 4, Ash. Because he'd earn more that way. And every time, every single time, he'd give them to me. Whatever extra he earned, he'd hand them all. So I'd have something to use for my paintings. And you know what? Back home, just a good tube of paint costs almost as much as what we spend for food the whole day. But he'd always set something aside. Told me he wanted to see my paintings in a museum one day.
She pours all of it out, every little thing she loved and admired about him. Like this, it's easy to see why she has gone to such great lengths for him, why she abandoned her dreams, why she went against his wishes, just to grant him another chance at life. Others will say it's her warmth that draws people to her, or her cheer. Neither are wrong, but neither is it the whole truth to her either. Because those who have never bothered to look beyond the surface will never see it. See her. See someone earnest, someone who has always meant well, despite her underlying stubbornness. This is how she loves. Warm. Steadfast. Unflinching. You never meet many people like her. Not in my line of work, not with the kind of people I've had to deal with. Always with something to hide, always with something to lie about. Eventually, when you run across too many of them, you change. You become like them. In many ways. For a lot of reasons. She's the kind of person I want to be and be around with. Who made me feel I am still worth something.
He didn't want me to leave. Said, begged that I should finish my studies first.
In the end, I couldn't even grant him that one request. I'm a terrible daughter, aren't I?
You're not.
Huh?
You're not. I can't speak for your dad. I haven't even met the man. But I know you're not.
I'm not entirely sure where I'm going with this. The remark just came out. Now I'm stringing all of these together as I go. But one thing is certain. None of what I'm about to say is a lie.
The Isabella I know is a total klutz, but I've never seen anyone work as hard as she does. She's the type who wears her heart on her sleeve. Though it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's always in the right place. She's intimidated by a lot of stuff, but She knows how to appreciate the smallest things in life. Frankly, you've caused us no small amount of trouble since you barged into our lives. But when I'm with you, all of my worries seem trivial.
Heat has already crept up my face when the turn this whole thing is about to take registers. Before I blurt the rest of it out, declare feelings I'm not even ready to reveal to anyone, much less to her, my hand comes up to smother the rest of it. Though embarrassment quickly takes the reins before I can completely clamp my mouth shut.
And I'm pretty sure Zach and Becca think the same way.
Come on, ass!
You have a nasty way of growing on people like that, and you know what? We got everything we needed in here. I'll just wipe the security recordings and we're good to go. While I'm at it, you better wipe the snot off your face. And you don't look very nice.
God, ass, you really had to blow it at the end here, huh? Hastily, I gather everything. The personnel files, client documents, sales agreements, and contracts. Anything my hands could reach. Alright, let's look at what we got. It better be a beautiful picture of this beautiful moment. Aww. In record time, all of it has been stacked in a neat pile, ready for storage. I'm heading for the records room not a few seconds later. Wherever that is. It should be an easy find, unless the place is a maze of some sort, which I highly doubt. Still beats staying here and seeing the look on her face. Crap. Really, her anger is still bearable. I can take that, including the glower she sends my way.
So, yeah, I'll go get the security videos and put these back where you pulled them from. Man, these are heavy, you know?
Ash, it's just paper. You don't even know where I...
Oh, no, I can handle this. Easy as pie. And, yeah, security cams, tapes, videos, cams.
You know how it is.
Yeah, I'm off.
Her rejection at this point? Maybe not yet. Getting the files back to BRC's archive room is a cinch. With the documents back in their proper places, I lock the door behind me, tugging it twice just to make sure. Now on to the next order of business, removing the evidence of our little excursion in here, or at the very least, the parts showing what we've been doing during the past hour. Can't have our faces plastered on security footage showing us breaking the law, as it were. Gonna have to wipe the data for Isabella's access card entries, too. Surprisingly, finding their security room proves a breeze. What will be tricky is getting inside. The fact that no one has walked out during the whole time we've been here means the room is either empty or their security sound asleep. I'm banking more on the former. If they're cutting corners and firing agents, I have no doubt that they fired the guy stationed here, if they have anyone watching the monitors in the first place. It's a rather common thing for establishments, just leave security recording indefinitely and only check the footage if something actually happens. Just to check, I press my ears against the door, listening for a sign of anyone occupying the room. After a long minute and nothing, I give the knob a few rattles.
Standard lock and key. Should be easy enough to pick.
We have lockpick sets, but those are only to be used if necessary, and with a search warrant. Even then, it's a skill set rarely needed. Subtlety isn't on a cop's priority if they have authority to search the premises. Bolt cutters and brute force are the favorite methods. If those fail, we call a locksmith. Me, I prefer the good old hairpin trick when those options aren't available. Besides, they're easy to hide and store for emergencies. Running my hand through my hair, I pull a pair of bobby pins. So that's why you keep your hair that way. 2 of these, and I can just about open any standard lock. One makes a lever, the other makes a handle. I won't call it a complex skill, but it certainly takes time and a lot of practice to successfully pick a lock. Good thing I practiced with them for a bit in my college years. I've learned more when they're accessible and standard issue for a law enforcement officer. A wiggle here, a click there, and I managed to seize all the pins in the lock mechanism soon enough. With a slight turn of the knob, the security rooms are ripe for the picking. Don't love that. The room's odor hits me first, a sharp, nauseating stench, as if someone has accidentally spilled a gallon of bleach in the room. When was the last time they opened this place?
Ugh, this place smells awful. Jesus, it's worse than the forensics lab on a bad day.
This is probably because of a badly botched effort to clean the place up, even in the dark. I can spy dark stains on the walls. I really don't have the time to try and play is this ketchup or soda right now, but I have this strange gut feeling who the mess might belong to. As expected, no security personnel means the office's CCTV controls and the standalone DVR setup is open for anyone. Normally, I'd have a heap of things to say about this sloppy security setup, but right now, their negligence makes this whole task of erasing evidence easier.
No fuss, no muss.
The next one should be the access card data. Hopefully getting into their computer won't be too much of a hassle. Everything up to now has been smooth sailing. There have been hiccups, I'll give it that, though it does nothing to dampen the good mood I'm in. Once I shift my attention to the machine sitting next to the DVR setup, all of it swiftly evaporates. I'm no computer buff, but I can definitely recognize one more than a decade old. Simply looking at it makes me feel younger. With a heavy sigh, I power it up and mentally prepare myself for a slow slug. Slow, apparently, remains an understatement here. It takes a whole 3 minutes for the thing to start up. The OS hasn't even started loading, and in my boredom, I start inspecting the live feeds from the cams. Only 2 works. One for the view outside, everything seems to be in order there, and the other for main workspace where it's a fleeting glimpse, a cursor glance, but the sight of it stops me. The image is a bit blurry. Yeah, I think I'm seeing it there. But standing there, right in the middle of the room by one of the cubicles, I can make out the form of a... I don't get too far into that line of thought. No few seconds after my words have slipped out, without any sort of warning, while I'm still trying to make sense of what it is. The figure moves. A moment of paralysis hits me when she stops right in front of the camera. Like a damn rookie, I go still in the face of danger. I definitely haven't been trained to handle the supernatural, and this is one, isn't it? And, oh fuck. Her eyes bore into me, the malice in them piercing. Even beyond the screen, it's enough to make me go numb. Only the mug crashing the floor when my hand accidentally takes a swipe at it snaps me out of the trance, reminding me that I'm not the only one here. Isabella. It seems she hasn't noticed anything. Am I the only one seeing this? In any case, whatever's happening, I have to get her out. Gathering my wits, I quickly reach for my phone. No! She has phone hacking capabilities. It takes but all 2 seconds before she answers, but there's no time for relief.
Did you really have to call? We're practically on the same floor.
Get out of there.
What? What are you...
Out. Get out. I'll meet you in the elevator.
You're creeping me out, Ash.
Just get yourself out of that place, now!
Without a second thought, I back away from the controls in the room, ready to be done with this place. But before my foot even moves, she disappears. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, that one did get me. That's the first one that got me in a while. Instinct instantly takes over, and my hand quickly reaches for the gun at my side. What? Only to meet empty air. A mistake that cost me a few precious seconds, while the paperwork I brought with me threatens to scatter everywhere at the same time. Gathering everything in myself once more, with no weapon to protect myself, my sense of self-preservation kicks in next, and I lunge towards the door. I sprint across the office without daring to look back. Isabella is already waiting in front of the elevators by the time I make it out of their office. Don't use the elevator! Rory creases her eyebrows upon glancing at me, but I don't have time to answer the question in her eyes. As soon as I reach her, I grab her arm, practically throw the 2 of us to the open elevator, and slam the button for the ground floor. A sigh of relief escapes me when the elevator starts its descent. The clicking noise fades off into the distance. Besides me, Isabella shifts, moving the stack of papers under her arm while she takes in my appearance. Concerns in her eyes, though all I offer her is a small gesture of my hand while I attempt to compose myself. Breathe. In. Out.
Why are we in such a hurry?
We need to get out of this place. Did you get everything?
Yeah, it's all here. But really, you don't look too good. What's wrong, Ash?
I'll be fine. I was in the security room. From the monitors, there was
a fucking? In the monitors? The rest of what I'm about to say dies on my tongue when the elevator stops and the doors open to... There's a moment's pause while we both take in our surroundings. Confusion's understandably there.
Oh, come on! They should just replace this whole thing.
Oh, I don't like this.
No, I'm quite sure I pressed for the ground floor.
Right? But, just as Isabella said, the elevator always did have problems when I visited in the past. Often she becomes so angry whenever we try to get to her floor, she'll have to repeatedly smash the button for the elevator to even move. That was always good for a laugh. I wasn't too worried then. Now... from the distance, beyond the light's reach, the noise echoes in my ears along with a rapid pounding in my chest. Isabella stiffens and her eyes grow wide at the sound. Gingerly, she reaches up to grab the hem of my sleeve and grips it, tight enough for her fingernails to dig through. Her eyes searches wildly for the source of the sound, while I stand protectively in front of her.
Ash, did you hear that?
No.
Anyone there?
Why are we doing this?
I can hear you moving from here.
Oh, come on
Show
now.
yourself.
It's just Seb. Seb's just pulling another one of his classic Seb pranks. No response. No response, only the soft sound of something scurrying around the floor and the walls in slow, deliberate movements, faint, though still audible enough in this hush. Until it stops. A
We
moment,
need to go, Ash. We have to.
and then... This time, I'm certain it isn't my imagination. Against my training, my whole body freezes. Hands stilling mid-press on the button, eyes growing wide while waiting for any sort of movement from further back, and ears strained for the source of the sound. I can't even offer Isabella any reassurances. Much as I hate to admit it, dread has seeped into every nerve of my body. And the blasted elevator still won't work.
This isn't in my fucking training manual.
Ash, we need to leave. I know that sound. Ash, please, get the elevator.
Hack it! Hack the elevator! Another series of shuffling against the ground, a laughter, and all of a sudden, she's just there. Like a twisted spider, she stares at us, a look of hunger in her eyes and venom in the twisted manner she smiles. A glee she has well earned when we're damn flies that have been dropped right to the spider's web.
Ashton!
Damn it! Damn it!
Without warning, she moves, mocking me with each unhurried crawl she takes, knowing I'm at her mercy.
Fucking hell!
Ashton, the door! The door!
Our lives are in the hands of a crummy elevator, literally hanging between life and death. We're not going to die here. Not in a damn elevator. Why did we go in the elevator? Why did we not just take the stairs? What? 5, 6, 1, 9, 3. Oh god, oh god, oh god, I'm so scared. 2, 4, 7, 9, 8. Okay. 6, 9, 2, 8, 7. Oh god! 6, 5, 7, 9, 1. I'm so scared. Oh god, dang it. That's difficult. Oh, that one's hard. Oh god. That was really scary to see the. Oh god. Okay, let's try that again. Let's try that again. Okay, not a damn elevator. Here we go. Here we go. Oh Jesus Christ! I'm so bad at this. 8, 2, 9, 7, 3, 4, 1, 9, 7, 5. 8, 4, 3, 7, 6, 6, 9, 2, 5, 3. No, what? God damn! No. Ah. Okay, alright, here we go, 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 here we go. Non-damn elevator, here we go. 5, 8, 1, 2, 9. 9, 8, 7, 5, 4. 3, 5, 6, 1. God damn! 2, 9, 7, 3, 8, 4, 2, 9. God! So much. Oh god. Oh god. Okay, I promise. Guys, I promise. I'm getting it. I'm getting it. Here we go. Here we go. Not the damn elevator. 5, 4, 7, 1, 3. 9, 2, 3, 5, 6. 8, 9, 1, 2, 3. 9, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank God. Okay. As if a divine powers heard me swearing up a storm in my head, the doors closed just as the thing loops near. Soon the elevator, the blasted thing, is headed up. Isabella's knees buckle in relief, and 2 ticks, she's hugging herself without any care for the mess of paper and folders she has dropped on the floor in her panic. She draws in one ragged breath after another, each one brimming with nothing but relief. And this is the most I've been tired my whole damn life. Not during training, when my superior first asked me to drop 100, not after a stakeout, but after smashing a fucking elevator button repeatedly. I slump to the ground beside her, worn out, but I don't let myself feel relief again. Not until we're out of here. Isabella seems to be of the same mind as she looks to me. Still, I find myself sharing a shaky laugh with her.
We're okay. We're fine. Right?
Yeah!
Yeah, we're good.
We're good.
Alive. Fuck, we should have taken the goddamn stairs.
That's what I've been saying. Twice I've seen it. Thrice if I include the party. Unless I'm tripping balls without realizing it, there's no doubt in my mind this is actually happening. I don't want to believe it, but with the truth staring at me in the face, it'll be stupidity to deny the reality of the matter. Whew! Alright, let's take a look at our picture, and that is gonna be it for today. Jesus Christ. Oh Jesus. I'm shaking. that quick time event really got to me. Alright. This has been Downstage Gaming. I have been your host, Josh. And, ooh, we're gonna get maybe a little... Oh, no, Seb's sound asleep, so maybe no more Seb. But we'll have to find out. Maybe there'll be more Seb next time. Catch you guys later.